Cosmic Queen and your intergalactic interpreter, here for a transmission for the March equinox. If you are watching from the northern hemisphere, then this is the vernal equinox, but if you're watching from the southern hemisphere, is the autumnal equinox. And so I wanted to get this guiding energy for this reading that I'm doing from the rose, well, actually the last reading that we did, which was the astrology, this is the second part of this reading. We did the guiding energy from the Work Your Light Oracle deck, and I think actually for this I want to get the Rose Oracle deck, because if we are getting insight for practical advice, I do see it as being helpful and beneficial to have an understanding of like being led, heart-led, from the heart space. And that was actually what was coming through with the last reading that we did, the astrology reading. So we're not going to focus so much on the astrology as much as we are going to focus on practical advice. We're going to get the overall guidance. We're going to get the story, and we're going to get some information for the specific different realms of our lives, which are social, romantic, for couples, and for singles. And I guess we can do some family, I guess, yeah, and money and career. And I've been talking about lifestyle a lot, but I actually think that like when I specifically ask for money, it's because I know that people, you know, need to know how to spend their money, especially in this time. Like, where's your financial investment? How are you financially investing? And a lot of the time, it's good to get clear on that advice. It's always, always, always good to check in spiritually and ethereally, because the ethereal energy is what manifests, right? And we contribute to that ethereal energy. That's why we got to get our subconscious right, because if our subconscious is part of the greater consciousness that is the collective soul, you know, we're contributing our the collective consciousness. We're contributing our subconscious thoughts to that, and we are potentially manifesting harm or negativity in our own lives because of we're attracting that to us because of our subconscious predilections. And of course, you know, we are not the full consciousness. We can't control everything, and the human collective is not even the full consciousness. All the beings incarnate are not the full consciousness, and even the unseen energies are not the full consciousness. The full consciousness is the one, the all, you know, and we can never really conceive of that. So understand that like your decisions don't dictate everything that happens, but you do play some little role in things. Especially you play a pretty big role in your own personal life. So getting aware of what your lower vibrational, what's going on at the lower vibration, because the lower vibration can still be upper dimensional and of a higher consciousness. You know, that can be, you're starting off from a higher dimension, but it could also be in the depths, in the doldrums. So it's really about like, where are you choosing to ground yourself? Where are you choosing to dig in your roots? And I would really recommend digging your roots into a higher dimensional space. Okay, so let's just get these out of my way. The overall energy, the sacred waters, yes, of course, as I've been saying, those sacred waters, the 12-dimensional high heart, prima materia, nourishment, replenishment, health, rest, self-care. So this is really a time going through this period, this new cycle. You know, I've been really getting energy for the whole new cycle, all the way around the full circle, 360 degrees. 360 degrees. But what we really want to do is also get guidance for just up to the solstice, the summer solstice if you're in the northern hemisphere, or the winter solstice if you're in the southern. And we want to get that information as the focus. But, you know, it's the overall energy too. I think we've really gotten a lot of the overall energy. But I want to get this, like, kind of a focus on the first 90 degrees of our transit with the ecliptic. So we're starting off with the sacred waters, nourishment, replenishment, health, rest, and self-care. This is setting the tone. This is going to set the tone for the rest of our experience, you know, our lives even, because we are in a tremendous period of change. Trust the seasons, embracing change, cycles of life, transition and growth, just as I said. The thorn, protection, boundaries, and clear communication. So yeah, this is really about, like, healing our lives by knowing when it's time to bark and knowing when it's time to bite and not being ashamed of that. You know, this is really about the integration of the divine feminine energy. No longer just letting people walk all over us, take control of us, this sort of thing. You know, being able to advocate for ourselves with compassion and from a place of unconditional love. And that means, like, you know, you can love people from afar. And if you hate someone, just loving yourself enough to just be honest about that and admit that. Because that's the only way that that energy can just move through you. And energy is moving through us, really is. We've done so much work to get free, and I just want to commend each and every single one of you for the work that you've been doing in your own life and in the lives of those of others, of those who witness you, because it is shining a light. It is setting a really beautiful example. And as I said, you really may not even know how many people you're inspiring by showing up as this version of yourself. But trust and believe, like, Spirit is acknowledging that you doing this work, this really hard work that is really quite scary, you know, that it's sacred. It's sacred, and there's so much respect and there's so much gratitude, and you're receiving so much support. So the hard part is done. Now you know. You've been through it. You know how to be the person that you're meant to be, and, like, just continue showing up as that version of yourself. This is creating the structures of your life, the structures of your domain. Essentially, it's about understanding, like, what is and is not within your control, and choosing to focus on what is in your control, and just going with the flow. You know, not trying to force things, not trying to control things that you have no power over. Trusting that divine timing is real and things will come into alignment as they are meant to. That you can't control the cosmic energy. You can't control the astrology. Maybe you're being held from being able to do something because it's just not the right time. And your guides are helping you to keep you alive. You know, I think that if I had gotten the platform that if I had gotten the opportunities that I felt like I missed, I had the opportunity to be on a reality television show, and I did not have the self-sovereignty to be able to do well and be in those spaces because I was so deeply enmeshed and entrenched in codependency and people-pleasing that that would have been a complete and utter disaster. Now I have that self-sovereignty and that agency, and if an opportunity were to present itself now, that's something that I could do that would not cause me undue harm. But obviously, you know, I felt guided to say no. Part of it, I just wasn't ready, and I knew that it wasn't for me. And my trajectory would be so different, but you know, it would have been a trajectory that has nothing to do with what my higher power has ordained for me and what my spirit guides, angels, ancestors, and guides wanted for me, because it wasn't meant to be. Period. It just wasn't meant to be at that time. I was not ready. And now I am. Now I am. Or not necessarily now I am, but now I could go into those situations and it wouldn't be something that caused me a lot of harm because I was making decisions from pride and ego, you know, maybe I would have a larger platform and all of these things, you know, fame and those sorts of things, but I clearly wasn't ready for any of that, and that's why my inner guidance was telling me not to do it. So when you're ready, you will come into alignment with what you're supposed to be doing. And if it's something that's held in your, you know, in your heart and your spirit and your mind, you know that it's the thing that you are supposed to do. You have this vision that you've had this vision that you've always had in your third eye, and it's supposed to be manifesting, but it hasn't manifested yet. Trust and believe, the work that you are doing on your spirit, transforming the ways that you've been transformed in this time have brought you, you now possess the wisdom, the insight, the knowledge necessary to make that thing happen, but it was not meant to be before. And trust and believe that when you get out of your own way, it's going to manifest itself. Right now, this is a season of replenishment, of rest, of nourishment, of getting back to yourself, as this sacred waters card tells us. And you just really encourage you to really protect your peace. So that's what's going on right now. And for this part of the cycle, you don't need to go out and chase. Really just attract. Set your intentions and trust that everything is flowing to you. As you continue to show up as your higher self. You know, and that I always say that other than not as your best self, because, you know, yeah, your higher self and your best self, you are manifesting a new job and a new career. Continue showing up to your job as the best version of yourself, but also putting this new the new vision, putting the vision that's in your heart of this new career first. And not feeling bad about that. If you're looking for a new job, that's okay. You don't need to do that on your company computer. That's disrespectful. But you can do that in your own personal time. You don't need to go above and beyond if you already know that you're switching jobs. Do what you were paid to do to the best of your abilities. And give that Midas touch to your own things. If you know that the relationship that you are in romantically is not serving you, if they're not the person that you want to be with forever, you know, if y'all both know that, honestly, at a time like this, we'll get into that, but just continue putting your dreams first, really, right now. 7 of Swords in the reverse position. 7 of Swords in the reverse position. I really feel like the opposition that we've been encountering is like, it's nullified. The opposition has been nullified. And a lot of that is because it wasn't even manifest. It was like those old programs that we were hearing in our heads that were telling us like we weren't good enough, because it was the voices of other past people. It was the voices of like, you know, people who judged you in the past. Like, you may have a totally loving community now that is so supportive of you, but you don't do things because you're afraid of being judged because you were judged in the past. Are you still in that community? If so, get out of there. But I feel like a lot of us are not, or at the very least, we are divested emotionally and mentally from those communities. And if you are meaning to get out of them, that is something that's going to be happening in this next phase of this next cycle, this next phase of the cycle, of the larger cycle. The Hermit in the reverse, you know, as we've been going through this purging, and this is what the 7 of Swords in the reverse is telling me. It's like, as I said, those self-limiting beliefs, they're falling away. So now the opportunities that were being held back are going to start flowing to us, and flowing faster and faster. This is going to really pick up around Easter, around sidereal Aries season, beginning in April. And you know, that's why it's so important to be aware of like each and every single one of our decisions, not to a point where you're hyper vigilant and you are like giving yourself a headache and just becoming anxious, but being aware, like, you know, grounding ourselves in our integrity and unconditional love for ourselves. Like, I love myself enough to give myself what I want and be true to myself and live my life's purpose, my dharma. So I'm going to, you know, if I get offered this job opportunity that I actually really want, I'm gonna quit my job. That's the sort of thing. But in this time, I really see it as like, if what you want to do is you want to be a model, you know, it's time to start figuring out what that looks like for you. You know, maybe it means that you start a skincare routine. And if you're somebody who has like, who gets hormonal acne, this is saying like so I don't want to talk about like, oh, you need to like, if you're someone who gets hormonal acne, you know, taking care of your hormonal acne. If that means that you go to a dermatologist, if that means that you know, eat a hormone balancing diet. 7 of Wands in the direct position. Great. Yeah. Because things are going to present themselves. Let me just finish this thought. You are, you know, you're still working at the job, but you're also doing what you need to do practically in order to get to where you need to go. And that means like, if you don't have digitals, how can you submit yourself to casting calls? So you go out and you take digitals and you make a casting card, right? If you want to be an actor, but you don't put yourself out there, you go and you get professional headshots done. You make a profile on Backstage where you see castings and you can submit yourself. You start getting your reel together. You know, staying open, but also actively doing the work, because the opportunities are going to start coming to you, and you need to be prepared for when they do. You need to be prepared for when they do. Yes, exactly. The Empress. So the 7 of Wands, your heart was not in the right place for you to be able to align with your dreams before. And that is because of the self-limiting beliefs. And a lot of it was because those beliefs were projected upon you by others. And if you were still in relationship to those other people, I'm seeing that you have removed yourself from those relationships. At the very least, as I said, you've emotionally divested and mentally divested from those relationships. whatever relationships were built upon those self-limiting beliefs, like you only thought that you could have these things, so you were settling for these things, like those are the relationships that are going, like the cords are being pulled out of them. But you don't need to be the one to rush through that. Trust the seasons, trust divine timing. Things are going to happen as they're meant to. You just continue staying in your power, in your self-sovereignty. Imagine you're the empress, you live in your empire, you live in your little, you know, you have your palace and you have the wall around the palace, and the wall has like a moat, and you can put down the moat so that people can come in, but like not everybody is allowed to come in over the moat. So when you pull it up versus when you put it down, and maybe it's like, you know, you're clear, you're transparent, so maybe it's a crystal kingdom. It's a crystal wall. People can see in it, but they can't see everything. There's an opacity. They can't see everything. You're not completely transparent, because like honestly, that's the thorn. Like you need to embody wisdom. You can't just go around trusting everybody else. Not everybody is trustworthy. And these are things that you had to learn. These are lessons that you had to learn. And now it's time to put them into action, because just as those opportunities are going to be presenting themselves to you, there are also going to be opportunities for backsliding, opportunities to go around the karmic circle once again. It's up to you to consider where you're going to be investing your energy. And I think at the base level, it's your mental energy, and also your emotional energy, and also your physical energy. As I said, it's not like, this is about your lifestyle. So if you want to manifest your dreams, and I'm using, a lot of the time our dreams have to do with our careers, because we see that as the only way to get certain things, which isn't necessarily true. But like maybe your dream is like, you don't want to work a job. You don't want to work a job. You just want to live a natural, holistic, earth integrated life and take care of your kids and work and make art. So if that's your dream, then what you need to be doing, and with this Four of Pentacles, I do feel like this is like, once again, that purging of the energy in the mundane world, the 3D world, is being pushed out. It's still like, things are manifesting now, and you need to choose those things over the old way of doing things. New timelines are available to you, and it's time for you to go down them. Don't get caught up with the trap doors, because there is going to be temptation to like backslide. So you're like, oh, I want to do this, but how am I going to afford to live? I mean, honestly, if you live this earth integrated sustainable life, like you invest in getting some land and building your earth integrated home and starting your farm, like you don't have to work for anybody else. And also you're gonna reduce your bills, because you've invested in this house that is sustainable. And use this as a metaphor. You have built your dome home. It is operated and powered by sustainable energy. It is at a level where it is maintaining a certain degree, you know what I mean? So you have solar panels and that sort of thing. You have like water filtration systems, that sort of thing. You are completely independent for all intents and purposes. You don't really need to be making the same kind of money that you would need to be making if you were living on the grid. So you now have more time to spend on your passion projects. Okay, well, you want to just like create, and that's all you want to do. And now that you don't have to worry about creating for survival, you can make art that you actually want to make. And it doesn't matter if it sells or not. And in this way, you're free, and you have your agency and your autonomy and your self-sovereignty. And that's the Empress there. The creative You're allowed to create. You are in your domain. You're creating what you want. You're really in your creative power. And the awareness of which way to go is coming very clearly towards you. This is a time for nurturing the dreams of your inner child, really staying open to that. Staying open to that and making the decision, like taking that leap of faith, choosing to invest your energy into those spaces, even though it might not seem practical. That's what we're being guided to do. You're being given the permission to do it. And so the next energy that we come into, the outgoing energy for this part of the cycle, is the Queen of Cups, the Hanged Man in reverse, the Knave of Wands in reverse, the Eight of Swords, Eight of Pentacles in reverse, and the Devil in reverse. This is the outgoing energy. I love this white tablecloth, but I'm gonna have to change it because obviously the ash is not a good look. But the Queen of Cups, you know, quieting our fears. What if we have quieted our fears and we have moved, you know, the fear comes up, the opportunities to choose fear come up. But if we've decided to go with faith over fear, and that really does come back to all of this, what I've been talking about with the 12th house, that I've been talking about with the Pisces, in the 6th house in Pisces, and the 12th house in Virgo. This is about healing our faith so we can take those leaps of faith and we develop that reference. The evidence proves itself. And once we have done that, like, we reap the rewards of that. We reap the rewards of that, of following our intuition, of trusting our intuition. Trusting our higher self is transmitting these ideas for us to move forward, because that's exactly what's happening. And that stagnancy, you know, we were facing a wall, and you're like, oh God, I'll never ever get there. And then we turn, just a little turn of the wheel, trust the seasons. Okay, so imagine that we're standing in the palace walls. You know what? I'm gonna bring this back. And here's the castle. And that's the palace walls. You can't function with nothing coming in. We know that. We talked about that in the last part of the reading. So we have the opening here. And we choose what comes in and what comes out. Okay, we choose who we let in and we choose who we let out. But imagine that the wall rotates. This is why we do astrology. This is why, you know, we monitor the cosmos, the astrological weather. The energy shifts and timelines are made available to us by our own shifting of our internal cosmic energy, because we are cosmic beings, and the shifting of the energy around us that we exist in. So say that we're standing here and all this time we're just like, oh my goodness, like, I want to go out there, but I can't seem to get it. It's just not happening for me. There are two things that happen. One, you might decide to walk. You're like, I don't know why, but I'm just gonna walk. I believe in this and I'm just gonna go. And then you get to the gate. And maybe the gate isn't like open, but you know that there's a gate and that's where you're supposed to be. because you've seen it in your dreams, your mind's eye, or you just resonate, you just feel it. Eventually the gate comes down and you get to go out. But that's not what we're being guided, that's not what we've been guided to do. Or I guess you can say that that's what we've been guided to do. We have been putting in the work, we have been making the effort. And so we get to the gate, and we've been at the gate since the last solstice, the December solstice. We've been waiting at the gate. The gate is now coming down. Oops. The gate is now open, whereas before it was closed. Okay? And we can go out. The example that I was going to make is like, imagine that the wall turns and you're just standing there, and then like suddenly a gate presents itself and you're like, oh wow, okay. Because that is kind of also how it happens with the astral energy. Because with this Hanged Man in reverse, it's like we were guided to stay here. We were guided to just not move. Oh my God. We were guided to just like not move. And we still have this though. We were guided to just not move, just stay put, just rest. Trust me, when you like, it's gonna be fine. We've been guided to do that. That's a lot of it about what we've been guided to do in many aspects of our lives. So these examples have been happening parallel one another, tandem. And the wall itself was moving. And before you know it, like the wall gets closer to us, and suddenly perspective shift here. Suddenly we didn't even realize that the wall was moving, or we noticed that the wall was moving and changing. If you are discerning, maybe you did notice that the wall was moving and changing. But the opportunity, either way, the opportunity to go through the gate has presented itself. And so we're coming now into the perfect alignment. Because I guess the example is actually that, so the example is that, you know, we were here in our internal personal gate, and we had to go here, and it's like, oh my God, there's the gate. Okay, let me go through the gate. And then, oh shit. Our internal personal gate. So we were here in our internal personal gate. We were called to make moves in our personal lives. And so we did, and we found the gate, and we went through the gate. And we didn't know, we came to another wall. And Spirit said, just wait, don't worry about that wall, just wait. What we didn't realize, perhaps, but if you're discerning, maybe you did notice, because you noticed like, oh, there was a mark there that's not there anymore, and now there's a mark there. This is shifting. This wall shifts, and we don't have any control over that wall, because this is our domain. This is what we can control. this wall, we can't control that wall. And that's just a cosmic energy. And it has shifted and shifted and shifted. Till one day, it's right in front of us. The gate is right in front of us. And that's what's going to happen at summer solstice for the northern hemisphere, June solstice. So it's the winter solstice for the southern hemisphere. That's what's going to happen. And so if you've been, you know that you've been doing the inner work in your inner life, and you've come out of the gate of your own inner life. The wall is turning. The energy is shifting, and it's getting closer and closer for you to go through that gate. And in this case, that means, you know, consistently choosing to take those steps forward in your inner life, in your personal life. Because the big quantum leap is coming. It's already happening in the ethers, and you're helping to manifest your own desired reality, which is the dream reality, which is aligned and harmonious. You're helping to manifest that in the material over the course of time. And when it gets there, you're going to be so grateful that you didn't waste your time getting mixed up and getting caught up in unnecessary relationships that don't serve you. Yeah, I feel like it's saying like that outgoing energy, you're not even going to have to try. You're not even going to have to try. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So like I said, spend this time, spend this next 3 months, this next phase of the larger cycle, spend that time getting your affairs in order. You know, if you're gonna be moving off grid, you know, maybe you need to learn how to drive. You get your driver's license. Maybe you need to be learning how to build. Maybe you need to be learning how to do whatever it is you need to learn how to do. As I said, you get your digitals and your comm card ready for you to be applying to, and you start actually just applying to these different casting calls. You get your headshots and your, you know, whatever have you ready for the lifestyle that you want to activate and manifest in your life. And everything's going to align in a harmonious, miraculous way because you've been putting the energy out there, and you're not going to have to rush. It's going to be so easy because you prepared for it to happen that way. And all of the hard lessons, I feel like, are going to pay off. Just choose to be courageous. It might be scary because you might be like, oh my God, like, how am I going to do this? And it's like, just trust yourself. As I said, everything's going to happen. It's going to be easy. You're not even going to have to try. Spirit is going to be dropping it in your lap. The universe is just, it's just going to be popping up. You know what I mean? Like, okay, say that you didn't know how you were going to get the land, but you just did what you needed to do. And then suddenly somebody's like, hey, you inherit land from somebody. Or somebody's like, I want to use my land to do this thing. And it aligns with exactly what you want to do. And this person has just come into your life. You know, also be spirit-driven, spirit-led. You use your intuition because it's going to guide you to the people, places, and things that are going to help you to manifest this. Because as I said, it's about interdependence. It's not just about you on your own. It's about you coming into communion and coming into union with your divine sacred community, with the collective that you are meant to be a part of, so that you all can manifest it together. Not one is better than the other. Everybody is on the equal playing field. Everybody is bringing something of value to the table. So those people, places, and things, and it's like, for some people, it's going to be like, oh, you know, these are the people from like your past lives where you built civilizations together in past lives, you know. Y'all built the pyramids of Egypt together. Y'all built the Atlantis together, you know what I mean? And what's coming out here? Two of Wands. Ace of Wands in the reverse position. I'm gonna put that back. I didn't ask for that, and I don't know where it's supposed to go or what it's clarifying. But I do feel like it is indicating like we are crossing over, as I said, that threshold, that 360 degrees, 0 degrees through the looking glass. We're on the other side. You know, with New Earth, it's gonna look the same, but it's not the same. It's a whole different world. Because we were in the inverted world, and now we're in the right alignment world. So all that, like, it was insane before, right? It was insane before. On the other side, it's going to make sense. We've experienced this liberation, and we've brought it into alignment ourselves. Look what came up again. Ace of Wands, exactly. 10 of Wands in the reverse. It's the end of the struggles, the hardship. It's the end. And it's mainly the end of all of that within ourselves. So for this next cycle in and of itself, and this next cycle, this next part of the larger grand scheme cycle, it is about, you know, you are self-sovereign. And it might take time for the world around you to catch up, the lag, as I expressed. But just trust that it is going to catch up. Like, those times are over. We get the Emperor and the Empress. Yo, 10 of Pentacles, that's my fuck you pay me card. The 9 of Cups in the reverse position. All that work that you put in is coming back to you now. All that work, that preparation is coming back to you now. Just keep on moving forward. Claim it, claim it, claim it. 8 of Pentacles in the reverse. Yeah, it's really about, you know, receiving our reward. Receiving our reward in heaven. The Devil in reverse. We're no longer standing in our own way. We're now serving a higher purpose. When we serve our Dharma, one, we're serving the collective, we're serving the cosmos, we're serving God, and we're serving ourselves, as opposed to just being selfish, you know. And that is self-destructive, because like, we exist in a collective, we exist in a community. So if we're taking away from others in order to feed ourselves, instead of like, you know, feeding the collective that we are a part of, that makes more sense. But you create deficit otherwise. That's what capitalism is about. And we're getting rid of that, you know, lack mindset, that poverty mindset, and we're stepping into the infinite framework, the cosmic framework, of infinite abundance. And we choose what becomes abundant in our lives. And we have trained ourselves, you know, we've trained ourselves to make abundant in our lives what we want to see, as opposed to hyper focusing on what we don't want to see. So that is the story, that's the timeline, that's the information that we needed to go forward. And we're gonna get specificity. You know what, usually I'm capable of remembering this stuff, but I'm gonna move these up here. It's just how Spirit communicates through me, because they know that I, in the position, Spirit knows that I can communicate these things that need to be communicated in a way that you know, I understand these really big concepts and stuff like that. So, and I can ground them in a more earth integrated way. So they really just pour things through me. I think that also Spirit gets really excited to talk to and through me. So the social world, I don't know what just fell. The social world. I have 4 decks. We use that for that. I usually use this for that. My Unsacred Oracle, I wanted to save for romance. We're doing social, romantic, family, money. So for the social world, we get Strength, we get 10 of Cups in reverse, we get Knave of Swords, and we get Knave of Cups both in the reverse position. With Strength, we are coming into the strength by finding our community that actually aligns with us, and we're going to be slaying these dragons together. 9 of Pentacles in the reverse position. This is really about protecting our peace, as I said, cultivating a space where we can be vulnerable, and finding people that our inner children can play with, because those are the ones who y'all are going to create this vision and dream that y'all's inner children dreamed of. That's the message that was put inside of you for you to manifest and spend your life expressing. And if that resonates with somebody else's inner child, then that is going to y'all are going to be able to build that together. So finding the community and finding strength in community. 10 of Cups in the reverse. Knave of Swords, Knave of Cups. Yeah, I do feel like this might be a final review. As I said, people are still going to be showing up. You know, the opportunities are still going to be showing up. But you don't, for backsliding, but you don't need to give your energy to those. Knave of Swords in the reverse, Knave of Cups in the reverse. Like, we just need to maintain our power and our sovereignty. I think a lot of people are going to be experiencing inner chaos because of the external chaos, and that's not something that you need to engage in. Ground yourself, remember who you are, remember what this is all about. The spiritual war has already been won, and good does always ultimately triumph over evil. The situation always gets solved, and if it's not solved, then it's not the end. Okay? Yes, just keep choosing yourself. Just keep protecting your peace. Just keep protecting your friend, like your inner child, choosing those relationships. And that's going to really have to do with people, places, and things as well. Like, if you know that, like, for me, at institutions of higher education, like, I want to continue learning, but I felt like it was a really colonial experience, and I don't want to exist in a colonial structure anymore. So I don't want to go back to a like regular university because I don't want to experience that harm. And that might mean like, oh, like I'm being offered the opportunity to go to this or that like MFA program, and I'm choosing to say no because I don't, because I don't need to say yes. I don't want to say yes. So I'm choosing to say no. This is our relationship with society and our interpersonal relationships. What do I feel like I need to do? Like, why do I feel like I need to do things that don't resonate with me? Who do I feel like I need to prove it to? You know, why do I feel like I need to show up and do things that don't resonate with me? If I start to feel myself becoming out of alignment and out of balance with myself, that's an indication that that thing is robbing me of my sovereignty. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. Of course, still fulfill your responsibilities, but as I said, like, you know, if it's people in your life that like make you feel shitty about yourself, or after you hang out with them you feel bad, like, don't hang out with them anymore. And they may be like, why are you not hanging out with me anymore? Like, you don't owe them an explanation if you don't feel like they're going to be receptive. And if you do feel like they're going to be receptive and you're not going to have to do unnecessary emotional labor, then, you know, explain it to them. It's really individuals, different individuals are going to have different experiences with this. But, yeah, my suggestion is just that, like, continue choosing the new you and allowing the old you to fall away, to rest in peace, to die, because it's ready to rest eternally and be transformed into something new. That energy, that part of you is ready to go, because what I'm downloading is that, like, the parts of us that are ready to die, like those parts of ourselves, they are needed in other parts of the universe, in other parts of existence. This is for love and romance. So they're needed in other parts of the universe, and you continuing to force them to exist when they have if they are wearing out their longevity, you know, to exist past their expiration date, is only making your life sick, and that is spreading to other people, and it is depriving the universe of the energy it needs elsewhere. So it's time to really just consider, you know, just let it be. It'll be better for everybody if you just let it be. 8 of Cups. Exactly. The transformation is occurring. Trust that. Trust and believe that. Keep on choosing to do make the hard decision. Choose the medicine instead of the dysfunction. Okay? That is the bottom of the deck energy. It's the medicine as opposed to the dysfunction. And that's going to bring you into alignment with the people that you're really meant to be in alignment with. 2 of Wands in the reverse position for love. This is the general energy of love. Is 10 of Wands in the reverse and the High Priestess in reverse. And this is just for this next 3 months. We are divesting, you know, this is the resolution of the karma that we have, especially from past lives. If you've had a lot of, you know, the same relationship over and over with different people, these are past lives. And that's the 5 of Wands is the bottom of the deck. And we do see that is an embattled energy. You know, 5 usually indicates an embattled energy. 10 of Wands in the reverse position. We are clearing the karma with ourselves as we are clearing it with others. And I feel like overall energy is saying that, like, the High Priestess in reverse, the 5 of Wands, it is about us learning. 10 of Cups in reverse and the Star. Yeah, we're taking back our power. We're taking back our energy. Those old karmic contracts are really, really ending and really purging. And we are just basically the energy just keeps coming out as like continue to choose yourself, even if it's hard. And that doesn't mean, like, if you're in a relationship, you break up with your partner. It's breaking up with your old self, your old patterns, your old ways of being in love. And, like, the fear and the vulnerability and making choices from that place and, like, you know, acting out self-sabotaging behaviors, that kind of thing. All of that energy that was keeping you self-sovereign and keeping you from being able to really come into alignment. You know, stop approaching love as if it's a battle, as if it's a power play, and start approaching it as, like, you know, I want to get to know this person. And yeah, just like being vulnerable and showing our honest, true selves. The 2, I mean, High Priestess is 2, and I feel like being in reverse here, it's like if we're naturally a very defensive person or a controlling person, whatever way, like whatever your trauma response is, do the opposite of that thing. Because your ego is really going to be trying to lead the way right now, and it's, as I said, it's really important to choose your higher self. It's really important to choose a self that shows up, and that might require a lot of work. That might require a lot of inner shadow work, but you know, you're breaking up with toxic. You're breaking up with toxic, and it's toxic you. It's what's happening in you, so that you can finally come into alignment with those new timelines, whether like, and divine union. The divine union is happening, it's coming in, but you know, we have to continue to stop, like we have to continue choosing the new timeline, and that requires us to show up as a different version of ourselves. Yes, it does. Yes, the fuck it does. I'm feeling into the emotional body, into the like the heart space, and it's like, you know, I think that it's just saying like a lot of us think too much, and maybe it's time to trust our intuition and feel into things. 1 and 2, yeah, because it's like we're supposed to be building a relationship, building a life. 7 of Pentacles in the reverse position, and 7 of Cups in the indirect position. Like we're supposed to be building a life to move forward, and that does require the sacred destruction of the ego, getting right size, experiencing humility, so that we can actually yield to our partner and they yield to us. And that's how we come together in balance, divine masculine, divine feminine, yin, yang, coming together, meeting in the middle, having a balanced partnership. So I want to get the energy for single. Well, I've been reading for hours, so I'm like tired mentally. Actually, I don't. I think that that's enough for that. The family. And it's like, if you're like looking for a certain type of partner and your partner is not that, you're not going to be able to control them and make them be that. But I do feel like this is a certain point where like we've already done what we've needed to do, and this is the starting point of a new cycle, and we have to, it's seeding this new energy with our intentions. It's important to be very clear about that. It's interesting that with family we get strength in the reverse, where it was in the direct position for social. And we get the King of Wands in reverse. I think it's important to just let your guard down around like inner child healing. Let your guard down, allow yourself to be vulnerable in safe spaces, because that's going to be what allows you to move forward. That's going to be what allows you to come into alignment, so that you no longer have to live in those timelines. You no longer, oops, you have Swords in the direct position as the outgoing energy. You no longer have to live in those timelines. And you know, you don't need any validation from anybody else. You don't need your family to validate for you that they understand. The justice might be happening in a way that you don't see it. You don't see it happening, but you know that it's happening. You don't have to stick around to see it. You don't have to be the one who forces somebody to understand the errors of their ways. Sometimes walking away from a relationship is the very thing that that other person needs in order to get their shit together. If there are people in your life, people in your family, that are not willing to change, you know, just leave them where they're at and get away to a healthy distance. Because I do see that, like, as I said, those toxic patterns, those toxic people are going to be really going hard. Because a lot of people are going to respond to the external chaos by internalizing that chaos. And they don't have the coping mechanisms to deal with it. Only deal with the people that you're able to grow with. If you're not able to grow with them, then you don't need to be interacting with them, because Spirit is saying we're moving on. We're moving on. We're leaving those old timelines behind. That's the transformation of the DNA. Exactly. 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 Yo. Exactly. We got the devil in reverse again. Exactly. It's the end of the line for these people. The Emperor, taking back our power. Whether this is epigenetic trauma, like, just know, yeah. Whether this is epigenetic trauma, whether it's like social indoctrination, you know, you're clearing up the bloodline, you're clearing up the lineage, you're doing the work. Trust and believe. Keep doing it. Four of Cups in direct position. I mean, people may be disappointed. Yeah. I feel like they're just not going to have any more control over you, what was controlling you in the past, because you're doing this inner child healing and you are reintegrating with the understanding of the divine as your true parent. And you're healing whatever, like, even if you didn't have a particularly traumatic childhood, like, in ways that maybe you felt unprotected, there's a reconciliation with the understanding that it's not about the external people, and they are flawed human beings just as we all are, but you are capable of showing up for yourself and doing what needs to be done. You are capable of doing that. And in the ways that you are meant to have someone else show up for you, which is very real. It's about community. As I said, your family, that is the community that's closest to you, including biologically, right? Because what's closer than having the same DNA? But with the strength in the direct position here, in social world, as I said, finding the community that resonates with you, that you're supposed to build your life with and supposed to grow together, and the strength in the reverse here is saying, like, you don't have to deal with that old community anymore. You can deal just with the new community. You can build, but you just need to let go and face the truth. It might be that you're breaking your own heart by facing the truth, so that when this lag ends and we get to the summer solstice, or the June solstice, excuse me, we're going to be ready to hit the ground running with these new people that we've made space for in our lives, with these new relationships that we've made space for in our lives. Because it seems to me that a lot of us were holding back because we were afraid of losing the relationships. Get the star again. We were afraid of losing those relationships. And so it does relate to the romantic, because if you were cultivating a romantic relationship with somebody based on the fact that, like, you were trying to fill a void that was left from childhood, whether it was like a fragmented relationship with the mother, the father, the parents, the siblings, the cousins, the aunts and uncles, no matter what it was, the grandparents, no matter what it was, you know, you have to take back your power. And the first step to taking back your power is realizing the truth and understanding it and feeling through that grief period, because the grief period gives way to the grace period. when you finally feel and deal with what you've been avoiding, you can experience the grace that comes with freedom and self-sovereignty. If you wanted to make moves and do things that maybe you've been afraid of telling them that you want to do, you're gonna say it. You're gonna end up talking to them about it. And even if they don't like it, they're not the masters of your domain. You are. It's time for you to be the controlling force, the controlling factor in your life, led of course by God, by the divine, by spirit. But it's time for you to take control back in your life and stop moving based on what other people want for you, or what you think that they want for you. Because it might be that you tell them, like, you know, when I went to school, when I first started university, I was afraid to just be an art student, so I chose to be a film major with a marketing minor. And then I developed more self-sovereignty over a period of time, and I was like, you know what, no, I'm being an art major and a film minor. And nothing really happened. I thought that I would get in so much trouble, but nothing really happened. And that's what I graduated as. So, you know, it might surprise you. New timelines are available. It might surprise you. They may actually level up, but you are the one who is changing, who's shifting the gears. And also, I feel like this kind of goes with the this analogy that I gave here, where it's like, you did what you have to do, and now things are aligning, that they've done the work in the background that you didn't even know that they were doing, and they've come to this point, and you can walk through to that ideal life together because you didn't even know that they were doing the work that they needed to do while you were focusing on yourself. That is serious. Like, that's a miracle. And so, bottom of the deck, no, that's not the bottom of the deck, the moon in the reverse, you know, clarity is coming in here. Clarity is coming in here. Like, yo, I couldn't have been more on the ball. Clarity is coming in here. Forward movement is coming in here energetically. But you just need to continue focusing on the healing that is happening in your life, and that is going to only happen when you are most vulnerable. So it is also about the ways in which you have been hiding. You have been hiding that need, and you have been dishonest, and you have been outside of your integrity that need to change. Okay. So we're doing for money and career, and we know that that also ties into lifestyle, but the whole reading is about lifestyle, I feel. This is an unsustainable practice, but this is for the equinox, so it's not always like this. Usually I don't have to go through all of that esoteric information, but I needed to go through it for this reading. So yeah, usually it's not this much. Voodoo in reverse, innocence, miracles and growth, miracles in reverse. So as I've said, there was a lot of spells being done on folks' money and on the collective in general, capitalism in and of itself, you know, the veils of illusion that have kept us fucked up, to be honest. And, you know, we have been purified, we have been sanctified, we have had those things removed from our DNA, from our light body, and that is through the ascension, that new earth ascension. And that's helping us to grow. And so, you know, miracles in reverse. If it seems too good to be true, it is too good to be true. But be discerning, because too good to be true doesn't mean like, is not the same as like, I'll never achieve my dreams. Too good to be true in this sense is like scammers. Because there are going to be a lot of scammers, especially because like we are experiencing anxiety, sinner in reverse, fire in reverse, and anxiety. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to move this like this so I can make more space. We're experiencing an economic collapse, and there are going to be a lot of people trying to scheme and scam. If it feels wrong, if it feels too good to be true, it is. Like I said, like, you know, it might be that you are kind of experiencing some economic stagnancy in certain parts of your life, and you really want those things to change. And so you might be wanting to make some desperate moves and desperate decisions. Spirit is saying, don't do it. Don't do it. Because you know that you've been doing the work and you are at the door of liberation. So wait for divine timing for this door to turn, and everything will be fine. You know, if you're thinking about like, I don't know, you know, I've just been seeing a bunch of like really like scammy, shady looking like debt consolidation and like grants and loans and stuff like this that I've looked into them and they're not real. Don't be a sucker. Don't be a fool. It's the same as those like tarot readers. It's like, oh, the tarot reader that you follow, suddenly they follow you back, but it's not really them, and it's a scam. And they like, I will be honest, like, you know, you end up spending money because they say that they're like, oh, I need to give you a reading, and you're like, okay. And you pay them, and then they try to scam you out of a small amount of money, and then they try to scam you out of a huge amount of money. You know, don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. Your ship is coming in. They're trying to get people because people are desperate. It's the same shit that was going on in during lockdown in 2020, because a lot of that 2020 energy is back, because that's when we went through the looking glass. A lot of that energy is back. Sinner in reverse. Trust that like the mistakes that you made in the past are being rectified. You don't even know. You can't even see what's happening because you're on the other side of the gate. You don't see what's happening out there. But trust that it's happening. All you need to do is stay ready. Fire in reverse. You don't need to be making any grand movements. You don't need to be making any grand declarations. Stay low and build is what I'm hearing. Anxiety, I do feel like, you know, folks might be feeling like money is tough, money is tight, or like, you know, just as I said, like that desperation, that fear. And it's like, yo, like, okay, if it's like, I don't have enough money for, I want to have this amount of money in my account for my bills at the end of the month, but I don't have it. And that is like worrying me. But then like the end of the month comes and the bill ends up being way smaller and you have the exact right amount of money. And it's like, I want to have the money now. I want to know that I have the money and the resources now. But when the time comes, it will all be taken care of. Memento Mori in the indirect position. Memento Mori means remember you will die. New life is happening. And this is what I was saying about the golden egg being cracked and the Midas touch. Like, you just trust that you have the golden touch. Direct that to where it's supposed to go. You don't need to be wasting time on other people's things that you don't care about. Direct your energy, the majority of your energy, to what you care about, what you believe in, cultivating that beauty in your life, being present in your everyday. I also feel like sex magic is really going to help. You know, fulfill yourself in the unseen ways. Find fulfillment in your life, and you won't feel like you need to like jump up and spend money. And also, this is a really important time and a really powerful time and a really helpful time for you to like create your business plan, for instance, or figure out your plan. You know, here you're on step 1 and you can't see step 4, but you can see step 2. So you make it your effort to get to step 2. And then suddenly step 3 lights up. And you do the effort to get to step 3. And then suddenly step 4 lights up. It's like you've been on step 1 and you've been afraid because you can't see step 4. So you've just been staying on step 1. But you can see step 2. But if you step on to step 2, like, you don't need to be, it doesn't need to be the big picture. There are small lifestyle things, as I said. Invest a little bit. You invest a penny every day, you're going to have $1. That's better than not having anything. At the end of 100 days, you have $1. Otherwise, you could have had nothing. I'm talking about energy, not necessarily like actual funds, energy, the energetic currency, because, you know, we're no longer in that low vibrational space where where we're ruled by like these lack mentalities. An apocalypse in reverse, as you know, the world might seem like it's ending on the external, and that's good because the world sucked before. And we got the devil in the reverse twice. And I feel like the world sucked before. So use this sacred destruction as a ripe, fertile ground. You know, when a forest burns down, or like ancient cultures used to like burn land in order to make it fertile again. Sekhmet. The sacred destruction is happening. You just need to sow the seeds, because what's coming is the opportunities of a lifetime. Okay, so that's all I've got for you. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and let your friends know about Vie Darling. Thank you so much. I love you all truly and deeply. Happy hunting.